Hamsloth lore recap here. Today I'm going to be explaining Episode 1 Chapter 1 of a mobile gacha game called Ep1. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care.
The story begins with the game explaining that Diene created Za-Warudo from the body of Orbis. The goddess is the protector of the world and all who lives in it. If there's ever a calamity, her air will be unleashed upon them. In the sixth restored world, the Archdemon War is already at its climax. The protagonist Ross Elclair is the heir of the Covenant, spawned by Diene herself. Vildred is a general of Izura. Rule of Light is a sweet kawaii girl who we all thought was a main heroine at start. Judge Ki Holy Jesus, look at her. Judge Ki Say is a nocturne. You may have already guessed. Vildred is the only one who is human among these four. The demons are at full throttle. It seems the kingpin Archdemon Angrath will be coming himself. Vildred suggested that he should hold off the Archdemon army while the others get to the sanctuary. Vildred encourages Ross that only he can destroy the Archdemon Angrath. Ross reluctantly agrees to the suggestion. As Vildred fends off the demon army, he was quickly slain by an unknown adversary. Kisei and Ross was waiting for Vildred to arrive, but Ross concludes he isn't coming back anymore. Now it's time for war. Ross with Arky, Kisei with Kromkruz and Rule of Light with Zeon. Together they mow down the demons. While Zeon is tussling with Archdemon Angrath, Rule channels her mana to Zeon to nuke Archdemon Angrath, giving Ross an opening to deal the final blow. Everything seems to be over until there was a greater threat. The demon launches an attack, Rule tries to defend but was slain easily. Ross is in disbelief and gets decapitated by a tentacle. Pretty much everyone dies. The whole world dies. But the goddess says, it's rewind time, this time it will work. The story begins with Ross waking up from his slumber, not knowing what the frick is going on. Looking for the Archdemon War. Apparently it was already over. He's in a timeline where the Archdemon War was solved by this generation of heirs and Queen Diene. Seems like while the Archdemon War was ongoing, Ross was still sleeping, unable to wake up even though his purpose was to eradicate the Archdemon. Ross is baffled that Queen Diene defeated the Archdemon without his help. He wants to meet her. Vildred now comes in to escort Ross to Tirel Castle where Queen Diene is. Ross was surprised to see Vildred alive. He's now convinced that the goddess created another world. The seventh world. Alas, Ep1. Vildred questions why Ross knows his name despite only meeting for the first time. But Vildred shrugs it off as unimportant and quickly drags Ross outside. Vildred questions why the heck is this stranger acting like he knows him. Even though it's their first time meeting and Ross was sleeping the whole time. Ross dodges the question. Ross asks what year is it. Apparently he was 20 years too late. He ponders why he wasn't awake for that. It seems like the Archdemon was defeated but not completely eradicated. Only Ross is capable of destroying the Archdemon. The Archdemon is currently sealed. That's why Queen Diene also needs to meet him. The world is too different from the previous world he was in. He remembers that Arky exists and wonders where he is. Vildred tells Ross that everyone was awake and only he is useless. All of the sudden someone comes in fangirling on Ross since he is the legendary heir of the Covenant. She also has a beautiful kawaii escort. Vildred didn't expect the prince to be coming. Ross shocked that this girl is a boy. This girl-looking boy wants to hand-hold with Ross, oh my god. The escort introduces herself as Aither, second in command of Izura's Order of the Sword. And this girl-looking boy's name is Aither, Prince of Izura. Since the prince is present, Vildred will now prioritize in protecting him. Vildred tells Aither to guard the helpless Ross because he is still weak as shit. Aither now thinks Ross is actually pretty subpar. Aither wants to go adventuring and defeat the Archdemon. Aither said the queen and her knights manhandled the demons already. Aither now questions what the F was Ross doing. Aither coldly says that he was sleeping even though a bunch of people are dying like crazy. Aither is amazed at his uselessness. Ross still needs to find Arky, his guardian. Aither agrees and wants to help. Aither doesn't like that. But Vildred says why not. Aither asks what does his guardian look like. Ross said Arky is just a blue Garfield. They manage to find Arky. Arky tries to run away. Ross and Arky are doing the Tom and Jerry routine. Ross wants to kill him. Arky doesn't want to be near him. Arky wants to be a neat. Iseria lost all faith and respect for Ross and Arky. Ross tries to sweet talk and bait Arky with candy. He swears he won't harm him. He lied as natural as he breathed. Finally, it's time to go to the castle. Iseria tells Ross that he should just stay behind her because there are still monsters. Ross says he can protect everyone. Iseria calls Sussy on that. Iseria tells them to behave properly. Charles dashes to Aither worried sick. Charles is an overprotective father figure. Charles will drill how dangerous it is outside to Aither. Aither wants none of that. Ross finally meets Queen Diene. Ross asks what the frick has happened while he was AFK. It seems during the Archdemon War. The goddess gave Diene a prophecy that in 20 years, everything will be Daijobu. Most people didn't believe it. The goddess' power may have weakened because she keeps recreating the world to push back Archdemon. Maybe perhaps that's why Ross is powerless right now. But some people are still goddess believers, so they went to war in confidence. They managed to defeat and seal the Archdemon. And just like the goddess said that in 20 years, the heir of Covenant woke up. But they can't celebrate yet. Portals from over the world keeps popping up and spawning monsters within. Diene warns that the sanctum is about to break because of the Archdemon's might and might be released at any moment. Ross the only one who can kill it. Of course he will do it. Diene is relieved. But it's already late and they should just do it tomorrow. While in the castle, Ch1 with her sisters finds them. To collect the fee from Queen Diene for storing Ross for so many years. Also to check out the Royal Palace. Rass's harem drags him to a date. The next day, Ross asks Diene why he was in the care of a merchant guild instead of the temple. Diene says she will answer that later outside and calls out Mercedes. Oh my god, holy Jesus. Mercedes is a homunculus loyal to Queen Diene. Diene asks her to take Ross to the garden. She'd rather tell him there because there are too many spies among the castle. Seems like someone tried to kill Ross in his sleep before. Diene doesn't know who exactly but reckons it's Archdemon followers. So Diene moved Ross to a secret secure location instead. A guard interrupts. Tells Diene that something is up. Diene leaves Ross with Mercedes for a bit. Ross doesn't like being alone with a wraith. Is it even okay to be friendly with a wraith? Arky breaks the ice first. It seems Mercedes fed him sweets off screen. Mercedes seems like a nice waifu. Ross asks if she's okay with this. Being enemies of her own race. But she is loyal to Queen Diene. Ross is convinced that she is a nice waifu. Ross asks why is she here. It seems Mercedes doesn't seem to remember anything apart from Crow. A knight of Taranor brought her here. Diene returns and preparation is complete and they should go to the sanctuary now. On the way to the sanctuary now. They went to the road towards the temple to show the people that the heir of the Covenant is alive and well. Vildred tells them that they should hurry. Vildred and Mercedes are acting as guards. Mercedes is such a cutie. Ross is surprised that the Knights of Isera can easily contain the Archdemon's might. It seems the Archdemon's might was separated to 6 parts. Sealed in every country of the continent. After destroying the one here, he needs to destroy the other parts too. On Tarfin district, the non-believers showed up, saying that Diene is a liar. They started attacking with stones. It seems due to recent events. The masses are really unhappy. Since the Archdemon isn't completely gone, chaos gates and lands of death keep popping up. The people are being attacked by monsters constantly to the point that they are on the brink of madness. People believe this is Ross and Diene's fault for Ross not waking up early. And Diene lying to everyone that Diene gave her a prophecy that everything will be Daijobu even though it wasn't. There are report of attempts to summon Archdemon's acolytes. Everything is getting crazy. Destroying the Archdemon now is tantamount priority. To prove that the goddess is still with them. Aither wants to go inside. But Alexa stops him. Aither goes into tears and almost convinced Charles to let him in. But Mommy says no. The goddess's power have been severely weakened to the point that the sanctum can no longer contain the archdemon's might, even though this is just 1 out of 6. The monsters around the sanctum is so strong now because of the archdemon's might is leaking out. Vildred and Mercedes comes with them. Seems like no intruders have ever gotten in because of the Diene's barrier and only she can remove it. Vildred was already ahead of them, clearing out the monsters. Vildred says that Diene is already at the altar. Vildred asks Ross about something. That will he fight the archdemon over and over no matter what happens? Of course he said he would. Vildred seems satisfied with that answer. Vildred dashes to the altar. While Mercedes finds Diene lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Diene's dying words was to stop Vildred. They couldn't believe. Vildred walks toward the sphere containing a part of the archdemon's might. After absorbing the archdemon's might, Vildred changed clothes in a blink of an eye. Ross goes full Obi-Wan. Vildred is still sane. He just thought of a better way to save the world. Chiron showed him the way. The truth about the world and about Goddess rewind time. Vildred now goes for the attack. But gets manhandled by Ross. It seems one fragment of the archdemon's might wasn't enough to defeat Ross. He now plans to take all of them across the map. Mercedes is so mad. So cute. Anyway, Vildred escapes. Instead of a celebration for the heir of the Covenant's return, it became a funeral for Queen Diene. The small councils gets to a gathering. Discussing what to do about Mercedes. A wraith. The Rose Apostle doesn't want her to exist. Angelica the High Priestess concurs. But Crown Prince Aither disagrees. Following his mother's will. Charles is proud. Crozet agrees and suggested that they should just leave Mercedes to the hands of Ross. Since he is leaving tomorrow to Riengar anyway. They won't have to see Mercedes. Now that concludes Chapter 1 of Episode 1. See you next time.